Twitchland. This is Doc, aka Gamer Seuss, and we're doing another video for Pax Dei. Today it's 10 tricks to make your life easier you wish you knew in Pax Dei. As many of you know, Pax Dei just went to its 1.0 release on the 16th, and some of you are out there probably getting a little frustrated in play. Wish there was some easier ways to do things, and looking for a little bit of help, tips and tricks to make your life easier, and that's what we're going to do here. Let me start off with a sound check just to make sure you guys can hear me okay. I do like to do that. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Oh, helps. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Check, check. Can't seem to hear me. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Let's refresh this. Check 1 2, check 1 2. Check 1 2, check 1 2. There we go. Now the sound's working. Okay. That's why we do the sound check. Okay, I'm going to switch over to the Pax Dei loading screen, and then we're going to get started with these tips and tricks. Alright, and into the game. And these are in no particular order. They're just 10 tricks that I wish I knew from the very beginning. Okay, here I am with my main character and my base, and we're going to look at the first tip on the list. Let me check my notes, make sure I don't miss anything. And that's going to be chest permissions, granular chest permissions. Now, as some of you may know, when you make a chest in the game, you have the ability to, sorry, hit the wrong button there, to set the permissions. And by default, they're set to private, right here in the upper corner of the screen, or by hitting Y. Although you do have the options of private, public, clan, clan elders, and clan aldermen to grant granular permissions. But a lot of you also are looking for a way to just share with one person. And there actually is a way to do that, so that just you and one other person can access the chests on property. And how you do that is you go, the other person that you want to be able to access your chest on your property is the one that has to place the chest down. If they place the chest down, they have access to it, and if you set it to private, it will be accessible only by them and you as the plot owner. So plot owners always have access to any chests on their plot, and then the person who placed the chest down has access to the chests on the plot. It's a good way to set up like a clan locker system or mailbox system for different people on like a clan plot. So that's one of the ways you can do that. And you can do that with any storage container that has individual granular permissions. Now the workstations, generally if they don't have storage, they're usable by anybody. So out in the wild, you can go in and you can just use a workstation to like repair your gear at even a stranger's plot, but you can't access any of their workstations that actually takes time to build things and thus have storage. Those are locked to whatever the permissions are for the plot that has the workstations. And that includes water wells. Water wells used to be you could just access the water, but now if the plot is not set to permissions for like you to access as a clan member, then you can't just go and get water from the water well. Okay. The next thing is bronze ingots. Now, bronze ingots are the first major step in the game to upgrade your weapons and tools. And even if you're not someone who's got a plot, you can still access bronze ingots, typically by making any kind of ingot. It takes a furnace, but I'm going to go to the Petra, which is the central starting point of your game. These are Petras, and once an hour you can actually transfer to them. That's going to be a later tip, though. But at your Petra, you have a storage that looks like this. It's a like a little altar, and it's shared between all the characters on the account. That's also going to be in the later tips. I'll go into more detail. But I'm going to take some copper and some tin and some wood. Did I get the tin? I didn't get the tin. Did I drop the tin on the ground? Yes, I did. That's okay. And you go over here to the forge. You do not need a furnace to turn them into bronze ingots. Bronze ingots are a moderate skill at the beginning. After you've done, or actually they were, I think they start at moderate and they go up. They're hard or moderate, and as you can see, mine is at mastered now with this character. As you can see, for 2 copper ore, 2 tin ore, and 15 wood, so it's not very efficient, but you can craft some bronze ingots without having to have a furnace or plot of your own. And also you can do this before you get a furnace on your home plot. And as you can see, I now have bronze ingots that I can use to make some of the starter tools and weapons and bits and bobs. Also, a lot of people do not want to necessarily waste their furnace space on bronze later on, because they're going to be cooking iron or higher metals and glass in their furnaces, and they only have so many furnace spaces. So, but if you need the occasional bronze pieces to complete your builds, you can just go in and make those bronze ingots immediately without the hefty weight in the forge, because this is also, although it's less efficient overall, it's faster because you're not setting it on automatic set it and forget it with the furnaces. And then you can just go over to one of the basic workbenches to make weapons and armor using your bronze ingots. We're going to go ahead and put those bronze, copper, and silver back into the storage here. And as a bonus, I'll also point out, not everybody knows, if you hold down the Alt key while you click on something in your inventory, you can move it mass. Everything of that particular item will get moved into the storage container you have opened, or out of the storage container you have opened, such as doing this for copper or this for wood. There is no sort buttons in any of the storage in the game at this time, but that's one way that you could sort your containers as well. Now you actually start with less slots in this storage container too than I have, but you can expand your slots with grace, and as you can see, my next 10 slots cost 30 grace, and we'll go into more of that when we get to the storage container tip, and that is our next tip. Now, early game storage is at a premium. It's hard to come by. Beginning characters do have several quick options, though. First of all is this storage at the Petra. And this isn't shared between Petras, so each individual Petra will have a storage chest. So you could technically have bank spots all over the map by unlocking the different Petras. But this storage is available to you, and I do believe when you expand it, it expands all of the ones when you pay the grace. Grace is also shared among characters on one account. So as long as it's the same server, you should have the access to it. So that's your first storage option. Now your other storage options early game are baskets. And baskets are small, unobtrusive. Hold on, where is it? Let's see. My mouse. Unobtrusive little pieces that you can make in carpentry benches. So you can't do them at the Petra because there is no carpentry bench here. There's a log chopping bench, a logs workstation, and there's leather and fletching and weapons and armor, but there is no carpentry bench. And that's mainly because the carpentry skill is the chief skill in building. And the Petra die is for people who don't necessarily plan to have their own plots to build on. I'm going to run back to our base. I'm not too far from the Petra die. I call it the Petra die because that was the Petra that I am most used to, but actually I think our Petra is called Petra Mia. The Petras are the, like I said, the center stones of the game. Let's get and if you look at your compass, if you do have a plot, you'll get a little house symbol where your plot is. Just like you get a little arc symbol when you're near a Petra to show you which way the closest Petra is once you've unlocked it specifically. There's my plot down there. But yeah, the baskets, that's wrong button. I meant to jump. Take reeds, which are plentiful around water sources. So I'll just take a stack of reeds. You can also hold down the shift button to transfer one stack, and then go to the carpentry bench, and you'll see wicker baskets and round wicker baskets. And the round ones you get really early on, and then you get the wicker baskets a little bit later, and they're, as you see, I'm a master of the round. And they take 20, and the wicker takes 40. So we'll move another. Oh yeah, I should have been off my spear, but the regular wicker takes 40, so we can craft that. Then we have 2 baskets. And if you take and you... I'm not going to grab my construction hammer to show you that. Oh yeah, I'm going to need it for a later demo, so I'll grab my construction hammer and show you. And then you just go into here, go into the 3rd tab, which is containers and decorations, and you see there's the wicker basket you can put down. Up, I hit right button, it's left mouse button to place. And it's warning me because I'm in a shared area. And I can go into the round wicker basket and I can place and get out. And if you look at them, the round wicker basket has 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 12, 14 slots. And the other has 8, 9, 10, 15 slots. So it's only 1 slot difference between the 2 baskets. But they have a very small profile and can be set on top of other baskets and stuff to give you early storage. Of course, these do require a plot to place them on, unlike the storage at the Petra. Finally, if you're a founder, because even some of you founders still need some tips, you've got access to the founder's workbench. And on the founder's workbench, there's the gallant chest, which takes just planks, and it's really low level. You can actually make it at the very beginning, and it just takes 8 planks. So you can make it really early on, and it's one of the easiest chests to make because you don't need a carpentry bench to do it. And it has 35 slots in it, so it's got the same number of slots as the decorative chest. However, as you can see, it's about 5 times the overall profile of a decorative chest. If you look at this and you look at the decorative chest, you're looking at 4 to 5 times the profile size overall between width and girth of the chest, but it does hold 35 slots, the same as a decorative chest, where the simple chests that most people start with have many less slots. They have like 20, 21 slots in them. A little bit better than baskets, but the Gallant chest is great at the beginning for early storage maintenance. So you have several options for storage, and again, you can set the granularity of those storage options. Everything except your storage at the Petra, that one is yours exclusively, and you can't share it. It's just shared between the characters on that account. Okay, we're up to... Let's see here. We were at storage. Okay. Next is fast travel. And there are several fast travel options in the game. First off, as you saw me teleport to the Petra, you can do that once per hour. And that's from anywhere in the game. You could be in any zone and go to your home Petra once per hour. In addition to that, you can go to the PvP gate once per hour, separate timer from the Petra, and that's, if you look on your map, your PvP gate is the one marked with the crossed swords, and you can go there once an hour. And that's the gate on the specific map you're on. Finally, you have the option of any of these Petras that you've unlocked. You can go to them by opening your map, just like if you were going to go to the PvP gate. You open the map, and it tells you you can travel and how much graces cost. Like it says this one's 0 because I haven't done my hourly. And if I was going to go to this one, say, but I don't have it unlocked. I don't have any others unlocked right now. But say I wanted to go to even my Petra, and the hour cooldown hasn't happened yet, I can go there for 20 grace. And that's map specific, so it won't let you cross maps for the 20 grace one. But like you said, you can go to your home Petra once an hour for free from anywhere. And those are your fast travel options. The other option, a lot of people have the pilgrim shoes as their armor. And it doesn't matter if it's light, medium, or heavy. The pilgrims basically have the same set. But on the pilgrim shoes, there's a run spell, and you saw me use that earlier. And it's by default, it's the left shift key to activate it. And if you hit it and then hold down your left shift key, you can run with the speed boost. Thusly. Hold on. Oh yeah, I've got it. I'm sorry, it's the control, it's the left shift to run, but it's the left control to activate it. And you run. Now, there's two versions of this too. It's little known that at some tiers there's more than one pilgrim sabaton, which is the shoe piece of most, at least the metal is called a sabaton. But there's often two of them. There's a second one, it's like enhanced, usually requires an herb or something, like in this case. And the level 1 is dandelions, and it gives you the power, but it's 2. It's Breath of Joy 2, and when you run with its speed boost, it does not eat up stamina if you've got the second version of it. So keep in mind that if you don't want to burn up a lot of stamina running, at those tiers where there's a second one available, it's a good idea to get the second one, even though it does cost an extra herb to get those second tier or what I would call half step above tier items, because they have a slightly better version of like a spell or something. And those are your fast travel options in the game. There's talk about eventually having mounts like horses, but they're not currently in the game yet, and they're not predicted to come anytime before at least 2026, 2027. So these are your fast travel options for now. Now, after fast travel, we get to food and drink. Now, Pax Dei is not a survival game in that you're not required to keep up with any hunger or thirst mechanic in the game. So eating and drinking are not required, but they are very helpful. And even if all you're eating and drinking is, well, not drinking, but eating is the fruits and mushrooms that you pick up in the wild, such as berries like datura fruit. If you see, they give to your max health, max stamina, and also often help with different regenerations, and last anywhere from like 15 to 25 minutes usually. Like I said, right now this one gives 90 max health, 10 to max stamina, 0.5 to stamina regeneration, and it lasts for 15 minutes. So it's a good idea, even if you just pick them up off the ground, eat one, and then drop the rest to save storage space. And that's true with a lot of the mushrooms too, but you got to watch it because some mushrooms are poisonous and they actually hurt, not help. I usually keep those in my alchemy box. Things like fly agarite that give you negative max health because they're poisonous. But they're a good idea to put on your character to give you a little bit more health and stamina when you're out there. You'll also see that your armor and weapons equipped have an effect on your health and stamina. The numbers will go up to indicate that you're more armored and better equipped with better weapons and such. So that's also something to keep an eye on. But food and drink, you can have up to 3 food or drink active of different types at the same time. So like you could have a veggie stew and a meat stew, but you could not have 2 different meat stews. You couldn't have the fatty boar stew and the bear stew at the same time active, but you could have the veggie stew and the fatty boar stew, or you could have Langanese sausage and hunter's sausage. You couldn't have the 2 sausages at the same time, but you could have one of the sausage or the other. And these same 3 slots work for drinks or food, so it's only a combination of 3. So you could have 2 drinks and a food, or 2 foods and a drink, or 3 foods or 3 drinks of different types. You know, one drink being an alcohol, the other being like a syrup or a like barley water, as an example. Some might also think of stews as kind of a mix between a meat and a drink, and they have different stats based on what you're eating and drinking. But that, and then separate from food and drink is potions. They have their own cooldown, but you only have 1 active potion slot. And you have to wait till the cooldown is off on the potion slot before you can take another potion. And the effect of the potion and the cooldown are 2 separate timers. The potion may not carry its effect the full time of its cooldown before you can take another potion. So be very cautious in using your potions. And that's potions and tonics, anything made in basically in the alchemy station for drinks. And as a side note, this isn't one of the official tips, but the alchemy station is also where healing staves are made, but they use weaponsmithing as the skill in order to make the healing staff. So you have to have a weaponsmithing skill, but you have to make the staff itself on the alchemy bench, on either the basic or the full alchemy bench. So that's a little side tip not counted in our 10. Okay. Other than food and drink, we have armor. And basically there are 3 classes of armor in the game. That's light, medium, and heavy, which is generally cloth armor made in the tailoring bench, leather armor made in the leatherworking bench, or metal armor made in the armor smithing bench. And one of the things that few people don't realize is there's a pilgrim set of every armor piece. So you can get the pilgrim version of light, medium, or heavy armor, and the pilgrim sets all have the same spells attached to them, basically, with the one exception being that the one on the shoes you can generally get either type 1 or type 2 when it comes to stamina use. And these basic spells are... Oh, hit the wrong button there. The 4 spell slots here that are indicated. You have your Breath of Life that generally comes with your Pilgrim's chest piece. You have your Aura of Life, which is on, I don't think I'm wearing Pilgrim. Am I wearing Pilgrim? Let me double check here. I think that's my leg piece. That's Van Brace's. My leg piece. No, I'm not wearing Pilgrim's leg pieces. So let me go to the leg pieces and show you. Am I out of leg pieces? Oh, I'm completely out of leg pieces. Did anybody drop off a leg piece? Yeah, but they dropped off the iron side. That's okay. I can make a quick leg piece just to show you. Leggings take bronze sheets. I have bronze sheets. And if we put those on, it has Breath of Balance, which gives you some stamina regen. Then there's the helmet that gives you Breath of Spirit, that gives you a bit of spirit replenished. And then finally, there's the Breath of Joy 1 or 2, which is the running one we talked about before. But all three of the armors have Pilgrim variations. Then there are some other pieces you can get if you're not going to go into the Pilgrims. And I'm going to put that in my box with leggings. It's can't see. There we go. There we go. And so it's a good idea to pick if you want those basic spells, you can pick whichever armor you most want. But there are advanced options, like, for instance, my leggings that gives a different spell. In this case, I have the Aura of Life, which basically gives a boost to healing for me and allies in range when I activate it. So that's a good idea to adjust the armor. And you can mix and match the pieces, but you got to remember when it comes to armor that you level the pieces individually by tier, not by tier, but by class of armor. So a light helmet gets leveled separate from like a medium helmet or a heavy leg guard. Each one's got its own skill set in the skill system, and you can check that with the journal and go into skills, and you'll see that you have different weapons. You see, say heavy gauntlets, light cap, light gloves, and so on. So you do level those separately. So you can mix and match your armor pieces in order to get the combination of skills and abilities that you want, and also the detriment, because different armor grades have different pros and cons to them. Light armor generally has You get more spirit, more stamina. It doesn't use up as much stamina to do things, and you have more spirit for spell casting and stuff. Where heavy armor is generally more resilient, you get a little bit more health, but it costs you more stamina and spirit to do things. There's generally not as much spirit attached to heavy armor, and medium armor is the in between. So remember that as well. And that's armor. Then okay, next one that's important is weapon ability cooldowns. Now you'll notice if you're using any weapon and it's equipped, you get a cooldown as soon as you equip the weapon. So say I put the spear and shield on. I have the spear, and now I have my 3 abilities, and you see they're counting down. They're in a cooldown phase. Okay, find my mouse. There we go. And those are your 3 abilities, and they default to Q, R, and F. I've remapped mine just because Q for me is my run button because it's more convenient with WASD movement, but it defaults to Q, R, and F. I swapped it with left shift, which makes it to where when I try to use left shift when I've got the spear equipped to move inventory and stuff, my spear tries to attack. So but you see now the cooldowns are off, so I can now use those abilities. But something a lot of people don't realize is you do not have to have your gathering tools equipped. So if you go out to cut wood or mine, keep your weapon equipped and then just hold down E when you get close to the tree you want to chop down, and when it stops chopping it'll automatically switch back to the weapon with no cooldown, so you don't have to wait for the cooldown. The only thing you got to worry about is any stamina you used while chopping, because you do have to have stamina generally to activate the abilities. But now I'm free to use my jab or my lunge or my quick jab, and then all of them are on cooldown again. But this works with skinning, wood cutting, and mining. It does not work with the only other piece of equipment that's really more of a gather piece than a combat piece, which is the bow, because the bow doesn't have quick swapping, but the bow also doesn't have any special attacks or anything, and swapping between your bow and your other weapons will trigger the cooldown of your other weapons. Hopefully they'll either put some abilities on the bow or make the bow some kind of hot swappable item so that you can use it to pull enemies to you. But for now that's not available. And different weapons are going to give you different attacks, different ones of those skills. So like for instance, if I go into my equipment swap chest, and I think I've got a an axe in here. Yeah, battle axe. I don't always take the battle axe with me, but that's on 5. And then let's let the cooldowns go through. This is a two-hander, so I can't use it with my shield, which is why I don't keep it equipped. I'm going to wait the 15-20 seconds to cool down. And then there's the left shift, which is an overhand swing. There's the F, which is a combo swing. And then there's the R, which is a full around swing. And that every weapon is different. So keep in mind those cooldowns and the fact that each weapon has 3 attacks in addition to their normal attack, which is just the left mouse button. And I should show you that too. And that seems like a good swing, but doesn't have as much power as the power swing I just did. Don't mind me if I have to search a little bit. I'm a wee bit blind. You'll also notice that the depth of detail in like the foliage and stuff is not as high in my game. That's because I've turned the foliage down in the INI files. It's something you can do if you have visual imparities, or if you've got a computer that doesn't quite meet the graphical specs for the game. You can turn it down to what we call potato settings, drop your graphics settings to the lowest possible, and then turn foliage to 0 in the game user INI file. And you can find videos on how to do that online. It doesn't actually cheat in any way really, so it's not something that the game is going to consider as hacking. So anti-cheat is not going to worry about it. But you can lower the INI files in order to make it a little bit more visually acceptable for us that are visually impaired, such as myself. And I play on a 55-inch monitor, but I still have difficulty seeing. Okay, on to the next tip. Okay. And that is, okay, unlocking the camera in build mode. Okay, in an area where you can build, if you access your hammer, your construction hammer, you can unlock the camera, and that's typically done using F10, although some systems will automatically rebind that to F11 if 10 is used for something in your system. And in some laptops and wireless keyboards, you will also maybe have to hit the function key before you hit the F key. But now I can use my mouse and WASD to look around without being in POV mode for building purposes. Also, in some areas where you can build, you could technically use this as a way to scout. And it's a way to move around and pan your camera, and it doesn't actually move your characters. Well, actually, in some cases your character is moving too, but you can go, let's see. But you can get around, and it's a little bit easier to place building pieces and such. And then you just simply hit the same button again to get out of it. Let's see. Let's see here. Let's see. Function F10. Function F10. There we go. And that's a way to go around and pan around to do more control while you're building your house, is the main reason. But like I said, you can also, in some areas where you're able to use your construction hammer, so not Leoness, the PvP area, but you could use it to do some scouting if you are up there. But as you can see, the controls are extremely slow. But it does allow you to more finely control where you're putting pieces when you're building their house, which anybody who's tried to build their house know lining some of these pieces up can be really problematic. So that's definitely a tip you're going to want to use if you're building. That was number 8. Number 9 is leveling your gathering skills faster. Now, I mentioned that you use the gathering skills, and you want to level them. But if you're not as worried about what you're gathering and you're more worried about leveling the skill, the key is to use the minimum tool required to gather whatever it is you're gathering, because you get experience when gathering based on the number of swings that you take to gather with your gathering tools. So things like saplings are your friends because they don't have two-stage chops. So it's usually generally 1 to 3 chops, then move on. Doesn't use up a lot of stamina, and you don't have to wait for a little bit of the animation. You don't have to reactivate when the tree falls, and then you go again. So when you want to level your wood cutting, for instance, go after as many saplings as you can, and then use the minimum axe that you need for the wood that you're going after. So if you're going after all easy wood, hardness 1, then just use a stone axe. But then step up to bronze, and then step up to iron, and so on, only when it's necessitated by the trees that you're actually going for, or when it's necessitated for, to get more materials. And the same thing is true with the pickaxe when you're going for gathering mining materials. Really, skinning takes the same no matter what skinning knife you use. You either can or you can't skin, so it doesn't have so much effect on them. But mining and wood cutting are the two skills you generally want to increase as fast as possible. So go ahead and use that minimum, like carry or make a stone axe when you're around a bunch of saplings, and use the stone axe on the saplings, because it's going to take maybe 1 additional swing, 1 or 2 additional swings to fell that sapling, but that's going to be 1 or 2 additional experience kicks for doing the sapling, so you're going to level your wood cutting faster. Let's see. Oops, wrong button. There we go. And then finally, number 10 is, speaking of leveling, prioritize leveling carpentry. If you plan to do any building at all, carpentry is going to be a big part of it. And if you plan to do any crafts, carpentry is the most used secondary bits and bobs in the game, followed closely by blacksmithing. So level your carpentry, and you can do that fastest starting out early game just by getting wood and going into your chopping block and working your way down the chopping block with planks, beams, and then longwood stock. Basically make planks until you can't really make any more. You stop getting, or it goes to trivial, then go to beams, then go to longwood stocks. And then after that, to keep going with your early quick leveling, get yourself some gneiss, and then go to your, I believe it's on the log bench, where you can make, oh wait, am I on the log or I'm on the founders? I want to be on the, log bench. You can do sand from gneiss, and then later on, as your level goes up, you can do it from limestone. And you can grind sand to level your carpentry even further. And it's important to get those that carpentry up, because carpentry controls all your building pieces in the game. The more carpentry that you have, the more pieces that you're going to have available in the build menu under foundations and walls and awnings and doorways and stuff, and the more pieces that you're basically going to have unlocked there. Not to mention, carpentry is going to expand your ability to get chests and baskets and signs and other things of a carpentry nature. So the final tip I give you is prioritize that carpentry if you're going to do any building or crafting. Now, if you're just primarily going to be a person who's doesn't have a plot, doesn't do crafting, primarily just goes out and fights and lets their other clanmates provide them with equipment and stuff, then carpentry is not as important, but it's still a good idea to get at least some of the basics so that you can provide them with the bits and bobs they need to make the other pieces for you, so you can help support your guildies in that respect. And carpentry is the one skill that pretty much everybody kind of needs. These have been the 10 tips and tricks in Pax Dei that I totally recommend. I also want to thank the rest of my guild at Iron Banks for suggesting a couple of the tips. And if you know some other tips, leave them in the comments below. Thank you for watching the Gamer Seuss channel. And remember, all of my streaming is dedicated to Extra Life. That means half of anything I make goes to the Children's Miracle Network through the Extra Life charity. Helps kids with long-term conditions in the hospital. Things like research. It also gets them puzzles and games so they can feel a little bit more like normal kids. They're not, because their parents are often spending a lot of their extra funds on medical bills and equipment. So they're not able to get like PlayStations and puzzles and board games as much. But this way it gives them those kind of things as well. They also work facilitating things through the Make-A-Wish Foundation and things like that. But they work with your local hospitals to help kids in need. And my specific Extra Life campaign, and all of mine goes to the Cox Network hospitals in Springfield, Missouri, where I currently reside. Thank you so much for watching. Again, in the immortal words of Stan Lee, Excelsior, play more games, enjoy your time, and check out Pax Dei. And let's go ahead and get out of the game and see if anybody is streaming Pax Dei and if we got viewers that we can raid. Always like to raid at the end of my show. Get you over to other people playing Pax Dei. Yep, he's in English. Let's go to him. Start raid. Raid now.
I got other people that's gonna join. My brother, he plays only on the weekends though.